Connected to chat. Hopefully everything is broadcasting correctly. And I may hear my dog in the background, people. So anyway, I'm using a new app. Let me make sure that my sound is good. Crap. There's nobody there to tell me if they can hear me. All right. So I'm still working out kinks. That's just my ice maker too going on. That you hear it. So whenever I use the YouTube app, I'm always getting people in. But I wonder if using this app isn't putting me on the front page when people scroll through. That might be the case. We'll just wait a little bit longer. All right, there's one person. Let me know if you can hear my voice fine. I'm using a new app. Don't see any comments either. Okay, there's two. Hopefully you can hear me. Don't know if you can, but I'm using a new app, so. But anyway, I'm going to jump into it. At least try to anyway. My parts were supposed to be here today. However, they wasn't, so I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer because what I plan to do is I plan to, when I get my removal tool, I'm going to remove the front lens. So this lens right here, I'm going to remove it and I'm going to swap it out with this lens. Number one, this lens has an anti-reflection coating on it. And it should be the same size. I think it's 28 millimeters. But anyway, I want to see if I can reduce this 3 times magnification and get it into 1 magnification, right? And if that lens works, I'll just take the measurements from it and then I'll order another lens. And then that's what I will replace this lens with. Because I know you probably heard me say this 1,000 times and you're tired of me beating this home, but that's what's wrong with this. This lens doesn't have any IR coating or anything. It has a good sensor, but the sensor in digital sensor's probably only 25 and the other 75 percent of the performance is going to be in your optics. And the optics in this is trash. Let's see here. That's what I intend to do. Like this particular one here, it has really poor performance, so I'm trying to do the upgrades on it to see if I can make it work. It works good if I use the IR light, which you can see here. Should be able to see that. Yeah. So if you use the IR illuminator, it works fairly well. But if you don't use it, you can't really see anything. I do like this unit is because I can cut the IR off. Unlike the PVS-14 digital, I'm stuck with this one. If I cut it on, it's on. I have no control over whether I'm cutting the light off. However, this one does do pretty, it has good performance because I did the upgrade on it. And if people want some, if anybody else wants some, when I started looking into whether or not people want upgrade kits for this stuff, I might just make one where it's 3D printed and it already has the built-in reflector. I don't know. We shall see. But I did some videos on how you make these. These are actually made from a little flashlight, the kind that you buy from Amazon, and just cut that little piece off. And then I glued it with hot glue and painted it on here because this is just a prototype for proof of concept. But it does a pretty good job illuminating it. But this right here, it won't illuminate anything more than about 10 to 15 feet away, right? And so if you look here, this is a laser culminator. Because a laser culminator is pretty similar to the right lens that I would need, because the wavelength that it was designed to work at is near infrared light, and that's exactly what the IR illuminator is on here. It's near infrared. That's the reason why you can see it. Let's see, can I get it? So in case you don't know, if you can see the light, then that means it's near infrared. Infrared is a higher wavelength and it's completely invisible to the naked eye. But I'll give you an example. I believe this one here has actual infrared. Let me see here if I can get it. Yeah, now see, this one here has actual infrared. It's completely invisible. It's no glow or anything. That's just telling you that it operates at a higher wavelength. I believe infrared is over 1,000 nanometers, where near infrared is about, I think, between 850 to 950 nanometers. Let's see if I can do the upgrade on here. Not upgrade, I'm sorry. I want to see if I can cut the other flood on. Yep, both of them on, but this one here is just near IR. Let's see, I want to cut it back off so I don't drain the batteries. This thing is good if you don't have a bunch of money. You can pick some of these up for around 30 bucks. But it is just a toy. But they work pretty good at seeing in the dark. It's just that the field of view isn't that great. This one I had to repair. Let's see, can I get in here where you can see it. Or maybe the battery's dead. Oh, the battery, no, it's off. Let me cut her back on. There we go. At least I thought I cut her on. No, the battery must be completely dead. I must have left this thing on. I gotta recharge the battery. I had to repair it though because when I bought it, it was all corroded, and so I had to take it apart and resolder it. And it, let's see on here. This is a focusing wheel. It doesn't have a diopter or anything on it, so. But the funny thing is, I guess when they were made this particular one, they were trying to make it look resembling a PVS-7, which this thing resembles the PVS-7, but this looks, I don't know, it's kind of different. But anyway, if you have IR floodlights like these, they do perfectly well for helping you see in the dark. Typically, your Chinese illuminators are near IR. They tend to be near IR. And it's like, if you see this one here, the IR illuminator on my pistol there is near IR. It's not total IR, if that makes sense. Not total IR. I guess I forget what the term they would call it. Maybe it's full IR. But anyway, so originally, before I upgraded the reflector on here, I used to use this a lot. But once I did the upgrades to the reflector, I don't use it anymore. I'm going to actually put it on the shotgun. Because I bought it because the other light that I have on the shotgun isn't IR. It's only a white light. And this particular one has a white light and IR. Let's see here. Let me make sure I got everything set up with my chat. I don't see anything here. Maybe I have to click the chat and see if I get anything. Nope, that didn't do anything. Yep, chat's on. Just nobody's chatting. Or maybe I have my app wrong. I'm going to review it later to see how the stream did. Because like I said, I'm new to using this particular app. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I don't use this one anymore, so this one's going on the shotgun because I don't need it with this one. And the cool thing about the PVS-14, it does come with the dovetail mounts for the Wilcox. And since I have a Wilcox on the helmet, Wilcox clone, that's pretty good. I didn't have to buy anything else to make it work, since that's what I always was using. The problem with this guy here is it uses a J-arm. And if you want to use the J-arm that it came with, you're gonna need to buy the adapter for it. I think it's on the mount, it's a bayonet mount. It's actually an adapter, and on top of the adapter is the dovetail. So you would plug that in, and that's how you would actually hook it to your helmet. So if you can see this, the reason why I like this one is this is all metal. Even though it looks like it's plastic, but see, it's actually aluminum. But it does look like it's plastic, but it's not. It's actually aluminum. I think this piece here is plastic, but the housing isn't. The housing actually is aluminum. See, that's all aluminum. The lenses and everything, all that's aluminum. I do like that part of this because I can cut it. This is a good starting point. So if I can make it work, that'll be a good option for people who want decent night vision that's digital. Because the problem is, a lot of times if you want something and you don't have $700 or $800, you have to build it yourself. And if you do the other kit, I think it's the PVS-69, it's a bunch of parts you have to source. And that might be out of a lot of people's ability to just build it because it's a lot of work putting all the little internal components together. I'm pretty decent with electronics, but most people probably don't want to tackle a project like that. So, if I can come up with the upgrade parts to make this work well, this may be a viable option. I think that this should do fine because the sensor in here is actually not too bad. The issue with this one is the lens. And like I said earlier, there's no coatings or anything on it. It's just cheap glass. It's just like a cheap glass telescope lens, and that is the reason why the performance in here is so poor. And I don't know, like here you can actually see the sensor in here. Let me see, can you see it? Look like you can, yeah, see, right there is the sensor. You can see it right there. So I can see that sensor. That means that the light is being reflected back. And that's not what you want. You want all the light to be reflected toward the sensor, and you don't want any coming back. Let's see here. Like this guy, this has a not a good anti-reflection coating, but it does have some. So you can see right there, it's a little bit on there. But that is a 1x magnification lens. So when I get my removal tool and I swap the lenses around, that one should work. They're about the same distance. They're about the same length. So the um the lenses should work. Because the way you have to measure them is you have to measure them the distance between the lens and the sensor. And that will tell you what kind of sensor, I'm not what kind of sensor, what kind of lens you need. Now, the way that you actually measure your focal length, there's multiple ways, but the easiest way to do it for a person that doesn't have the equipment is to simply take your lens like this, and then you have a light source. And as you can see here, you can yeah, you can see it right there a little bit. Actually, I have to open this up a little bit, so let me do this. All right, there we go. All right, so you can see down here, you can see that little focal length, that right there where you can see it. So what you do is you measure the point, even though this light is really dim, you measure the point that that comes in the focus, and that's your focal length, right? Once you measure it exactly where it starts to come into focus, it's like a magnifying glass. The point where you see the where it kind of focuses like that. If you ever took a magnifying glass and used it to burn paper or something like that, once you get to that point where you see it's focusing, then you measure that with a ruler, and that'll give you the focal length. You can just go and put that measurement into the website where you buy your lens, and then they'll tell you what type of lens that you need. So that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully everything works correctly. Now I'll go to something else. This is clearly a Nerf gun. It's not real. It's just a Nerf one. And I have to use stuff like this to get around the fact that we can't use live weapons on YouTube when you're streaming. So I use toys as props. That way, I don't have any issues. It's clearly a toy. It's a Nerf. But and I use this one because it's a stand-in for the 12 gauge shotgun. So one thing when I'm telling people when I insert my mag in the back, I just tap it a little bit. I'm not like hitting and banging it. And for whatever reason, people thinking I'm banging it, but I'm not. I'm just gently inserting it, and I tap it just to make sure that it's firmly in place. That's all. Another issue that I get is like whenever I'm at the range in the video, they keep talking about that I have my finger on the trigger. I'm at the range shooting. Well, actually, it wasn't me. It was actually my son shooting it. But we're at the range. It's just the way the video was edited. The video was edited just to show what happened when the gun malfunctioned. And so that's the part you saw. So he's holding it in his hand like that because it's malfunction, right? So it's like if you looked at the whole entire video, you could see that. But then people are like, "Oh, trigger discipline." No, that's just what's going on. If you left a comment or something, I don't see it. So it might be something wrong with my chat. I may have to work on that and set my widgets up better. But we're going to have to see. So I will put that back down. I'm going to get some more stuff too. That's what I'm going to use for demonstration purposes on live stream. I'm just going to use the toys because that way I don't run afoul of YouTube's terms of services. Now, the other issue that I saw, like I said before, I'm working on different pieces and upgrades for the Z9157, which is this one. Which, like I said, I don't know why they didn't call this thing the PVS-14 digital, which is what it looks like. But they didn't. But I do love this. I actually had a subscriber. He's working on trying to put a night cam in it. So I'm anxious to see what kind of performance he gets out of replacing it. That's kind of an expensive project because these things cost a lot of money just to remove all the electronics out of it. So it's not necessarily a project I would choose, but hey, maybe he will make it better. We just have to see. But I do love this one. The only issue that I don't like about this is there's no diopter in the back. Other than that, I love this. I also love it that I can also set the exposure. That's another thing. Most of these digital devices, you can't set the exposure, but this one you can. So if you're in a really low light environment and you don't want to use the native IR illuminator, you can always just change the exposure, and that makes a big difference in complete darkness. But I do love this one. I can't highly recommend this more, and it's not that expensive. This is probably one of the best ones for the money. People don't like these dual monoculars when it's a single. Like if this was analog, it would be a single tube, and it basically uses prisms in a sense, so that you can see two images, but it's essentially the same image. But it's not too much of a problem because I'm using a wide angle lens, and that gives you like a larger field of view. I did videos on this, so you can look at my you can look at the channel. I may have to do some more video comparisons, but the difference is even though you're looking through like one single tube, you can see the whole entire room. That's the difference. Because with the wide angle lens, it gives you a wider field of view, and the fisheye lens gives you an even wider. Like in here, that's the fisheye lens. It gives you an even wider field of view. And with that, you're able to see a whole entire room. So if you went into a room with this, you can see everything in there. That's why, like originally, I was looking for ways to replace the lens with a better lens. But then once I did experiments with these camera lenses for the smartphones, I said, well, there's no point of using these because these lenses work perfectly. I tested a bunch of lenses, but I had fairly good success with just the cheap ones. So that's what I've been rocking with. Looked like I had a comment or something. Let's see here. I'm going to have to look and see what we get. Yeah, everything looks pretty good. I don't think I got my stuff set up right though, because it doesn't look like my chat is working right. Okay, let's hear some noise outside. But anyway, if you do get you some night vision stuff, you always want to have some type of carrying case so you don't damage it. Even though this one's pretty durable. The digital stuff is not as fragile as a lot of the analog stuff. Some of that stuff is really fragile. The PVS-14s analog seem to be robust. And if you had a real PVS-18, not the digital variant of it, that is robust. Even though these devices say they're waterproof, they're not. Let's see here. So whenever I remove these screws, there's no seals or anything, O-rings or anything. So I would not submerge any of this stuff in water, even though they say it's waterproof, but it's not. Trust me, don't do that. You're gonna waterlog it. I will probably put some type of sealing on here and an O-ring or something, but I'll worry with that once I finish perfecting the lens. Hey, bud, this is my dog. You all right, buddy? Yeah. Come on, sit down. Sit down, bud. He just came here, hang out with me. Hey, bud. You all right, buddy? All right, bud. Anyway, yeah, none of this stuff is waterproof. I wouldn't submerge it. Just a word of warning. And even though this one here says it's waterproof, it's not. So like if you see these little two tabs right there, water can definitely get in between there. So don't submerge this stuff or drop it in water. I mean, you shouldn't be putting stuff in water anyway. Like you see people on YouTube doing that. That's just boo tubing. I mean, it's stupid. You don't, there's no benefit of you dunking your night vision in water. So like you see somebody pouring like a bottle of water on their night vision or submerging it underwater. Unless you're in the military, there's no purpose of having your night vision submerged underwater. I think it's dumb, but hey, if you want to ruin your stuff, go right ahead. And one of the last things I'm gonna go over is the helmets. So a lot of people are always telling you to buy the more expensive helmets. I wouldn't. I just get whatever ones you can afford. But the cheap ballistic helmets is fine if you're just using it to hold your night vision. Because a lot of the people, they're just LARPing. I'm just using this as a way to hold my different night visions. So as long as that's all you're doing, you don't have any issue with just putting this on a regular ballistic helmet. This is not an airsoft helmet. This is just a Chinese ballistic helmet. But it's not a bad helmet. It does have all the ratcheting straps and all of the cushion inside of it. But and this little band here, I just use that to wrap around my night vision just to keep her from coming in loose by accident. But yeah, don't let them boo tube you to death with that stuff about buying $1,000 helmet if all you're gonna do is just use it for as a means to attach your night vision. They're just gatekeeping the hobby. It's just another barrier to keep you from being able to enter. And the entry is already extremely high when it comes to night vision to begin with because it's expensive. Now there are some I don't know how long you're gonna be able to get them like that with the different increase in prices on Chinese goods, but China does make some of those night vision monoculars that they resemble a PVS-14, but they're not. But they do have Gen 1 tubes in them, and they're around $300. So if you did want to pick up a Gen 1 tube, AliExpress does have some, but they're only around they're around 300 and I think $360. But just bear in mind, Gen 1 performance isn't going to be any better than digital night vision. So you can get it just for the fact that it's a tube inside, but you're not going to really get that better performance than you would with digital. You hear the noise, pups back here eating this food. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys what it would look like once I did all the upgrades, but I'm still waiting on parts because I'm getting a new culminator for the laser that I can focus. Even though this isn't a laser, that would have been an excellent upgrade if they used a eye safe near infrared laser as the illuminator, but they didn't. But that would have solved all the issues with the distance. And they didn't do that. But I'm getting the laser culminator that I can focus and I can turn it and dial it in, and hopefully that will increase the distance that I can see. Because right now I can't see anything beyond 15 feet with this right now at night. I should be able to see at least 50 feet. So if I can get it where I can see 50 feet, then that'll be a success with the upgrades that I'm trying to do. Because 50 feet is generally what you're going to look through. You want at least that. You want longer than that, obviously, but if you can get 50 feet, then that's an improvement. But yeah, with that and the low light lenses, it should be pretty good. Now, let's see here. I'm trying to see if I got anything else on here. So like I said, I'm using this new app, and I don't know if I got everything set up correctly. So if I didn't respond to your comment, I'm sorry. It's just that I couldn't see it from my end. I don't see the live chat. Live chat says it's, yep, connected to chat. So if anybody tried to say anything, it's not. So I guess what I need to do is test it. Let's see. Reason why I switched apps, I would normally use the YouTube app, but this app here will allow me to see all the comments because normally when I'm streaming, I may miss some of the comments and they disappear once the stream's over with. But that's pretty much it. I will probably get on a little later, but I just really testing to see how everything works out. It seems to work like I got it working okay, but we'll see. But thanks for checking out my stream, and I'll see you guys later, and I'll keep you updated. Have a good one.